It's a Saturday. It's the 4th of July, 2009. Blue skies up above with a few cumulus clouds, and I am delighted to be here with Calvin Castine and Hometown Cable in downtown Plattsburgh on Cumberland Avenue before the BPOE, the Elks Club, ready to broadcast the 4th of July Independence Day Parade for 2009. It is a festive occasion. We've celebrated every day for the last several weeks with a little spit of rain, depending on where you might be. Calvin said he had a few drops fall in Alberg, Vermont, when he went over there to catch the festivities this morning. He said it rained pretty hard in Champlain. I must say, at my home along the beautiful Saranac in Morrisonville, it's been a decent day, and we got some things done. How was Alberg?
A very nice parade, of course, quadricentennial, and as is this one here that we're looking at here at Plattsburgh. And very nice parade, always a nice parade there, and and they always have it at 11 o'clock on July 4th. So if people are looking for something to do before they come here to Plattsburgh at 2, I suggest heading over there. The cars were backed up almost to where the entrance is to the Lake Champlain Bluegrass Festival.
Oh no! Come on, you got to be kidding!
No. So they were backed up.
Oh, that's a piece to walk, isn't it? If you had to get out.
Yeah. Well, so they were sitting there saying, "What the heck are we doing
What
here?"
are we getting into?
Yeah. So
well,
there was a good crowd, good light, nice long parade, like about 37 minutes of tape, and it was a good day.
Any parade over a half an hour is a good parade, the way I look at it. The parades here on the 4th of July are rarely more than a half an hour, but it's hard to tell in this quadricentennial year. A lot of people are using that 400 years as a celebration, and they're trying to enhance their parades and the other festivities, and so far they've had some pretty good celebrations, right?
Yep. I was in Altona last week on Sunday, and they had a very nice parade. In fact, it was so long they had a traffic jam when it caught up with itself on a loop that they did there.
Oh boy!
And tomorrow, of course, as we're taping this on July 4th, I'll be tomorrow night in beautiful downtown Rouse's Point for their 49th annual, and that's promising to be a real super parade.
It always is. 49th annual.
Yep.
So they were going with great guns when I came here, and I've said this many times before. When I moved to Plattsburgh on July 4th, if you can believe it, I started work in 1961, and I asked somebody, what's the best parade? And guess where I headed?
You must have headed for Rouse's Point.
Rouse's Point.
Is.
Parked along the guide rails, trying to get out of there after the wonderful fireworks, but always a good time, always a great time.
Always a great time there, and of course it's not the same for out-of-towners now that the Anchorage isn't there at the present time. Hopefully it'll be rebuilt, but this is the second summer in a row without it. It burned a few years before this and was rebuilt, and now it burnt a couple of years ago, and they've had at least 2 summers here without the benefit of the Anchorage, and that's a favorite gathering place for out-of-towners who are coming back to visit their roots and gather there and watch it from the porch.
It's always great to be anywhere on the 4th of July, Independence Day. I couldn't wait to get my flag right out there this morning, bright and early, knowing that it wouldn't be rained on. I'm still proud, of course, proud to be an American, and I have never been shy about expressing that patriotism in any way. And this morning, Kay and I remembered the parades of the 4th of July's Independence Days of our youth, getting our bicycles ready with the red, white, and blue crepe paper inside the wheels and the cards on the spokes, and riding in the parades,
I was taping that Alberg parade and thinking of the fact that we're now on the 2 websites, www.plattsburgh.com and hometowncablenetwork.com, and we've got so far hundreds of events up there and with thousands more to come. And I was thinking, if people in other countries really wanted to find out what the US of A is all about in small town America, there probably wouldn't be any better site to go to find what really happens here than Hometown Cable Network or Plattsburgh.com.
We have a friend at Tawny, the traditional arts here in northern New York, over in the Canton area, and he said, called me on the phone to ask about any artisans in this area that they might celebrate and commemorate. He said, is there any way we can get a chance to see your TV shows up here? So I told him, and he called me back and said, you gotta be kidding. Because sometimes you and I tend to overlook the things we've done because we've done hundreds and hundreds of these events in the past. But he just looked down the list and it blew him away. Here's a guy who's right on the cutting edge of what's going on in major events around the North Country, and to think that we've chronicled so many hundreds of them down through the years pleased him, and it pleases me that it pleased him. And I hope we're having some effect on the viewers who watch us all the time.
Yeah, so I recommend the people who have internet access to let their out-of-town friends know about this site, and particularly if they know people from other countries, let them know about these sites, Plattsburgh.com and HometownCableNetwork.com. We're putting the same videos on both sites, so you can go to either one, to Plattsburgh.com. It's a lot easier to remember, probably. But go to either one of those sites. Keep them on your favorites. I am able to load stuff up to the HometownCableNetwork.com a lot quicker, so that sometimes the day the event happens, it's up there available for the worldwide audience to see. So encourage your friends from out of the area and from out of the country to tune in and see what rural America is really all about. I think they'd find that we have a lot going for us.
You and I have both spent a lot of time touting rural America, especially here in our own little corner of the North Country, because this is where it's at. I've had so many people who live in the cities who are drooling when I explain what life is like up in this little corner. They love to come and visit. It makes them feel good because we have this glorious Lake Champlain. We have the rivers that go by many of our homes in the North Country. We have the backdrop of the Adirondack Mountains and the Green Mountains across the lake. And we have, it's something, I don't know if you want to call it a little more humble, but it's less baloney in the rural areas because people are working hard to make a living, and they treasure their church and they treasure their families. They're not afraid to express their opinions when they have them, and that's okay too. But there is a great deal to be said about rural areas, and we've spent a lot of time talking about farmers. You and I have both lived and worked on farms throughout our lives. But, Plattsburgh's not a big city, 20,000 people. And even though Champlain is a metropolis, it's far less than that. But right on the border with Canada, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we have the best of all worlds up here.
I think so, and I think another thing that every area is proud of their people, and I think our people are people to be proud of. And
we have a melting pot up here, that's for sure, don't we?
Well, to a certain extent, yeah. And we've just got a great bunch of folks up here in the North Country, and it's you can see it when events happen here that people stick together and work together to get a good positive outcome.
And we seem to notice when our neighbors are in distress, and that's something that always has attracted me. The people up here are willing to give of their hearts, their money, their time, their very souls when somebody else is in trouble. And you don't always find that in the bigger metropolitan areas. Of course, the cities have advantages too, but up here people care about each other, and we are pretty darn good neighbors. It looks like we're going to have a sizable parade here.
I hope so. I think so. I see the Champlain, New York float is not too far down there. They've got should be our friend Richard Favreau there as Samuel D. Champlain.
Oh yeah, he'll be dressed up again.
Native Americans, and they should look like they're not too far from the start of the parade. And that's a very nice float that the people from the town put together. And of course, if the town and village of Champlain can't celebrate Champlain's quadricentennial,
I think nobody can, right? There are some very good events, and of course we've been fortunate enough to keep an eye on this from way back when, long before the quadricentennial year began. We talked about it. We interviewed Celine.
It seems so long ago.
It seems like 10 years ago that we started talking about it. And you and I are grateful to still be standing here, you with a camera on your shoulder and me with a microphone. We're about 15 minutes before parade time, and I got to tell you, there are people who might complain about that breeze, but on the 4th of July, when you and I have stood in almost 100-degree weather, and at other times in torrential downpours, this is a blessing for me.
This is comfortable. It's not I want to jump in the pool type of day, but it's a very comfortable day. You come out with your short sleeves on and your shorts if you have them, and just to enjoy the weather, and just enough breeze there to keep the bugs away and keep the perspiration off your brow.
I was thinking, had I got myself prepared and together early enough, I was going to come down here and try to get a lineup of the parade for the first time in history. We've never had that luxury. It ain't going to happen again this year.
Well, maybe next year Kelly Donahue can send us a lineup, email us a lineup, and we can have an idea what we're looking at before it gets here.
I got a call from him just a very few days ago. I think it was the last day of June, asking if I would announce the parade. I said, "You don't have anybody to?" No. So I made a few suggestions, and hopefully he got somebody to sit up there on the courthouse lawn where we've been for a few years, and they hadn't rounded up any judges yet either, so hopefully they found some of those willing volunteers.
Yeah, well, we did a few there. Of course, we do the Battle of Plattsburgh Parade there every year, but we started several years ago, back when they were lining up at the college next to Hawkins Hall there. We found it was a lot quicker to do it up there than to wait till the parade gets down here. And now, again, we're doing it right here to start. And, of course, in a couple of years, they also started up at the field house. So we've, I'd say, more often than not, been at the start of the parade rather than up there in front of the courthouse.
We mentioned history, and Cumberland Avenue is a very historic street in Plattsburgh, having some of the very oldest homes down here, some of the most beautiful homes, including the old Elks Club, which is right behind Calvin's right side. You can see the top of it, and many other beautiful historic homes. Many of the Plattsburgh elite, you might say, have homes on this street. The Kent DeLord House is right up around the corner, not more than 1,000 feet from where we are. We've been there many times. The McDonough Monument is down in town. The Champlain Monument is right down here on the corner. And if that isn't a pretty sight to look out over the bay where the Battle of Plattsburgh or the Battle of Lake Champlain was fought, there isn't one. So this is a nice spot down here, Cal.
Yeah, very pleasant street to be standing on, and I'm sure that a lot of people take advantage of this little stroll through here. It's a nice, quiet community, nice area to take a walk if on a summer day. I'm sure a lot of people wander these streets on any particular given evening.
Let me tell you where the parade is going, just so you know what's happening as it passes us by. It starts on Cumberland Avenue and heads up across what we used to call the old Humpy Bridge, the Smith-Weed Bridge, that has a great history. It'll go down through town, head up to Cornelia Street, and it will make a left-hand turn and head south on Margaret Street, and will disband finally over at the Stafford Middle School, formerly the old Plattsburgh High School location, later today. This parade has been held at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for some time, and so it is again this year. I noticed when I came down through town a half hour ago that people had the lawn chairs out, Galvin. When they had flat roofs, they were on the rooftops. When they had windows, they had the windows open, and they were up on their cupolas and wherever they wanted to be. But there were lots of cars. I was glad, in other words, that I came through when I did.
Yeah.
Or I might have had a little difficult. As it was, I had to wait through 2 red lights because of the people crossing at Cornelia and Margaret Street. So 4th of July, a good holiday, and I don't know it, but our viewers might know that it wasn't as big a holiday up until the 1930s as it is now, even though it was Independence Day. But now it is an official holiday, and if you tried to get your mail this morning,
a long way.
You had a very long way for it. But it always makes me feel good, and I hope you do too, because it gives Calvin and I a chance to reflect. And we're pretty good. We're old enough so that we can reflect quite a bit of all the parades and festivities of our childhood. I can't remember too many fireworks displays as a youngster, and I'm guessing that we probably didn't have too many in the little towns I lived at, but I can remember a fireworks display, I would have to say, starting in about 1945 or 46 when the war was over, and what a big Independence Day parade you can imagine up at the Rec Park in Messina, because a wonderful teacher that I had by the name of Agnes Labarge bought one raffle ticket on a new Nash for 50 cents, and they called her name, and you could have heard her scream from here to South Bangladesh. That was, and I can remember, Calvin, that day they brought out, they always had the cars of the future, and they brought a Chevrolet convertible, and it was wild enough for me to be able to see the top of a convertible go down electronically in that day, but also it sensed the rain, and somebody turned a garden hose on it, and the top went up on a convertible. And so technology was great. Those are my early memories, and I'm sure you have lots too.
Yep. Let's get ready for the parade.
I think we're ready to begin. I heard Kelly Donahue say from his little Toro gas-driven vehicle 1 minute, and that was 1 minute ago, so I think we're ready to begin. Be careful now.
You almost drove right over us.
Yeah, well, he just wanted to have that thrill at the beginning of the parade.
Oh, speaking of thrills at the parade, there was one knucklehead there in Alberg today that
Spun the tires?
Spun the tires.
Not again.
Oh, boy.
It bothers me every time I see it. Of course, we saw the parade down here with a relative of somebody who was relatively famous, and but we made our opinions known, I think.
Yeah, and we just
So
saw
dangerous
we just
with
saw a
little
car
kids.
driving, while we were off here, a car driving by here very slowly, and a little 2-year-old almost ran right in front of that car. So you just can't be too careful on our parades. It's just, got all these little ones here, and they don't understand the danger. And they're just here soaking up the experience. You just can't be too careful when you're coming through where there's a parade.
Security is so important, and I don't remember any children being hurt in parades as a kid. But there was candy thrown. They throw a little less candy, so the little kids don't dart out these days. And
sometimes it comes so close to the wheels of those
come
big
very,
trucks.
very close, and that bothers me a lot. In the days when we were younger, there were lots and lots of horses. So anytime I see one horse in a parade, I'm excited. The Battle of Plattsburgh always has at least 1 or 2 horses.
Well, you always lived in one of those one-horse towns.
Yeah, I did. And that one horse was always in the parade.
But Alberg had about, I'd say, maybe 10 or more horses
Did
today.
they really?
Yeah, so they're a 10-horse town.
Oh, that's wonderful. We love horses and cattle and livestock of all kinds. And here we are, ready to begin. Well, you found out who number 1 was, didn't you?
Yeah.
There was the police car.
Can you back up just a few? I want to get the shots here out of the shade. So
Okay, yeah.
get over here.
Okay, let's do it.
Otherwise, things are lining up right in the shade for us.
Oh, yeah. There was somebody out there with a cloth shining up all the chrome on engine 284 in the city of Plattsburgh before the parade began. I was talking with some of the old firemen who remember when this truck coming right here, Plattsburgh the fire department local 2421 was actually in service. When they went to fires and it was 30 below in the wintertime and no cab on the truck. Look how nice it is now.
But it sure beat following the horses.
Oh, it did, and they had to do that too. I've seen a lot of pictures of the old fire stations where they had the horse harnesses for the team up on a special rig, and they drop it down on the horses, and the guys would take off with those old hand pumpers. Wow, what a time that was. My ancestors on my dad's side were firemen for many years in Rochester. Look at this, and there he is. You said he'd be here.
Samuel D. Very serious looking Samuel D.
Oh, yeah. Very, very, very nice birch bark canoe, too. Probably wouldn't float, and I hope we don't have to find out, right?
I hope so.
Here's the Niagara Hose Company #1, Champlain Fire Department.
Look at that nice emblem they got on there.
Oh, isn't that beautiful? 400. Yep, Samuel de Champlain. That's beautiful.
If you do so, Vital Signs, they do a heck of a job.
Really?
Printing, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Most of the fire departments are well equipped around here, and that's because these rural towns that Calvin and I mentioned earlier in our show support their local volunteer fire departments. And so they have good equipment and very, very well-trained men, to the point where it's difficult to recruit volunteers anymore because of the rigorous training. But look at the nice vehicles that they have. We have a wonderful mutual aid system, a 911 enhanced 911 system here in Clinton County and in many other neighboring countries or counties. But
Well, you're not too far off because the people in Hemingford and St. Paul and
they've always been good about helping.
they're part of our mutual aid, and as is Alberg and Isle Mont.
Alberg and Isle Mont as well. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't know when you'll be watching this where, but it's in the low 70s on the 4th of July 2009. So Calvin and I are very, very pleased because we've stood here when it was well into the 90s. How are you? There's Sherm. Airborne, another very successful year after they repaved the place and doing very well. There's Mo. Hello, Mo. Mo works for the Clinton County Health Department. So also helps to watch my big white dog Kia when the rest of us are on vacation. And I hopefully will have some different kinds of entries in today's parade. I always love to see that. I love the fire trucks, I love the dump trucks, and I love the cars and kids, but every now and again you'll see a different kind of display, and with this year's theme, the quadricentennial, perhaps we'll see some nice floats before we're through.
I just ran into Howard Karen the other day, and he said they'll be here. They'll be here.
No
said he got
kidding.
tired in Altona last week, but he said he'll be marching all the way through this
And
week.
Howie, of course, belongs to the wonderful pipers in the area, the Plattsburgh police pipers and others who've joined together, and they have so many guys who are very, very good at the bagpipes, and we enjoy seeing them. And Howie, of course, is a retired state trooper who's also a pretty darn good wood turner, as I recall.
Yeah, did a nice job. Look at this young driver here.
How about that, huh? He's turning the wheel like he means it.
And the vehicle went straight.
Yeah, the vehicle went straight. That's pretty good. Of course, a lot of the local businesses are involved.
And we invite every business that's in the parade to send us a contribution of $50 for Hometown Cable.
That would be just perfect, wouldn't it, huh?
Yeah. We appreciate Hometown Cable being here.
Well, we've talked a lot about it in we've made our commitment, right, Calvin? And it's
I would say so.
I would think so. That's called paying your dues over and over and over again, and we hope the North Country responds by not only letting us know that they appreciate our efforts, but by a little contribution every now and again. Cumberland Head is here, well represented. What a great guy, and there's Wolf on the back. I asked Wolf if he's been swimming yet this year. He said, no, I'm a little too old for that. But he's involved in their cold water rescue team from Cumberland Head, and they really started something. Oh, well, we go squirting the kids a little bit, huh? Cumberland Head Fire Department. There's one of the great old trucks.
I think you got me on the limb.
I don't know. You see a little funny blurb there? Of course, the area radio stations are here.
Yeah, it's political season.
Oh, we know Tommy. Hey, Tom, how you doing? Hey, Joseph.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Joe, the Clinton County Treasurer. What would a parade be without politicians, right?
I'm sure the other guy will be here too.
Oh,
We'll
yes,
mention his
you
name
can.
when he comes by.
You're exactly right. Yeah, First Baptist Church. That's a speedboat with a sail on it. Oh, look at Champy here. Whoa! Oh, that's amazing. Oh, Northern Sanitation is coming. I'll never forget bringing my grandson, who's now going to be a junior in college, to Tupper Lake with us for the Woodsman's Days one time, and his eyes got so big when those giant logging trucks came by in their parade.
I was looking at next week's agenda there. We got the antique tractor show in Plattsburgh actually in Morrisonville. Tupper Lake is going on at the same time. They got the Civil War reenactors down in Lewis, New York. It just never seems to be enough time to do everything.
To get it all on, that's great. These trucks are so high that they flutter the branches on the way by. It's amazing. How are you? And here comes the Battle of Plattsburgh Association. There's Keith in the back and Mr. Wingler and other friends. They're part of our local museum complex in downtown Plattsburgh. How are you? How are you? Happy 4th?
Yes. How are you? Isn't that that island off California?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But they've all done a fine job in establishing 3 different museums on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base.
Lamar with his rooster in Saratoga.
Yep, the replica of the Saratoga with good sound effects. I think that one got me in the belly button, I'm not sure. In the Bible Baptist Church, we have a number of parochial schools in the area, all of which seem to be thriving, and we're recording this a few days after the Pyramid Preschool that occupied the old St. Alexander's School in Morrisonville declared that they were ceasing operations. That's a happy birthday. I suppose that adheres to the theme. With puppets in the windows. With our dear friends at the Adirondack Humane Society.
They got that bus filled with balloons going.
They certainly do. I hope there's no kids trapped underneath there. What a wonderful organization this is. Helping people adopt pets and take care of the pets. They've been operating for a long time, and we've received pets from them before and spent a lot of time promoting them. And the SPCA, Elmore SPCA out in Peru. Want to get your body pierced in some particular place today? I don't think so. I've done it inadvertently a few times, but not on purpose. How are you? Good to see you. Let's go fishing. We interviewed he and his dad up north one time. That's quite a nice float that he's put together there, isn't it? Very, very nice. That first stole might be a little warm on a day where it was warmer than this, but
Genuine beaver, I'm sure.
I'm sure it is. Well, so far there's an interesting variety, huh?
Yeah, nice variety. One of these years, if we get ambitious, we might do this live on the internet, Gordy.
Well, we talked about it this year. We didn't quite get around to it, but that would be nice. I know people are still talking about seeing the Irishman of the Year festivities when I was away. So you did a good job at that, Calvin. That was fun.
Yeah, we just pointed the camera, and 250 or so people tuned in on the internet to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's great.
As more and more word gets out, we're going to have more and more stuff live on the internet.
You know, it pleases me, and I know it pleases Calvin, to do this kind of show because we are spotlighting our friends in the North Country and the good things that they do, happy and healthy things that they do. But it also lets, as Calvin said earlier in this show, lets the North Country know what we're doing here and lets the rest of the state, other states and other countries know what we're doing, because the internet has made this hunk of mud that we live on so tiny these days that we can get instant stories from across the globe. Sometimes faster than we want to get them, you know?
Yeah, but this is true reality TV because this
sure is.
This is real.
That's a nice old case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that. Yeah, this is reality TV at its very best. I know. They got an alligator.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that's a champy. I love it.
Not sure. Crocodile Dock. Not sure what that was all about. But
I'm not sure.
Crocodile Dock. 9 to 11:30 at the Nazarene Church.
Yep. The theme for this year, which is only loosely being interpreted by some of the participants, is the Quadricentennial, celebrating the 400th anniversary of Samuel de Champlain's trip down through and the discovery of our Great Lake. We've mentioned it so many times in the past, and the celebrations will continue through 2009. Our friend Jack LeDuc is the official photographer.
But they're no longer using that discovery word, Joe Cardi. They've realized that the natives knew it ahead of time.
They
Yes.
knew it well ahead of
What have you
time.
got?
Here you go, is promoting the the Chilton County Health Department website.
There.
For you, Gordy.
There you go. Thank you. All right, working together for a healthier community. For many years now, I have recorded the health tips every month. So when you call the number of the health department, look at Tony. Tony,
Yeah, we got this is all Champlain Valley Transportation.
there he is. And Tony, look at his great car. We saw that car. Tony Vaccaro.
That's not a loser, is it?
No, that's not a Lozier. Hey, Tony. Who loves the Lozier and has two of them, right?
Yeah.
Plus many other wonderful vehicles, and they're spotlighting the various modes of transportation in history at the Transportation Museum. Little breeze is whipping up as we're about 15, 16 minutes into the parade. Kids love parades. They always have, and we're all kids at heart, so we all love parades. Haven't seen a single decorated bicycle yet, though, Calvin. We mentioned that.
Baseball cards are too valuable now.
Yeah, is that it?
Tomorrow, as we said, I'll be in Rouse's Point, and for about the third year in a row, Brian Jefferson and I, if the weather cooperates, will once again start at the beginning of the parade route and go through and capture the crowd and then capture the parade.
Well, isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
We told you, we said he'd be here.
There he is. There's Mark. Hello, Martine.
Good.
How are you, sir?
Good.
You're wonderful. Put that in your pocket.
You like a singer?
There's Marty Mannix. Look at, he even got a little cart. That's not the cart behind the horse either. We haven't had the horse yet.
Kids are getting tired and they've just begun.
Yeah, she'd rather take it. She'd rather somebody else would be pulling that cart with her in it. Oh,
Who talked me into this?
oh, she's beautiful.
Jillian.
Yeah, she's beautiful. I'll never forget when handheld radio police scanners were first invented, and she was just a little girl riding in the back seat of the car, and I had the scanner going on the way to a fire, and she says, "I'm telling my dad, I want one of those. That is so cool." Jillian's been through so much, and she does such a great job, and you can find her at the help desk at DMV just about any time you stop by. She's a very bright lady who's overcome a lot of difficulties.
Jillian McConey, she's a heck of an athlete, and that determination has got her back to where she is today.
Yeah. Exactly right. And when the fact that she was going to survive was in doubt at some point in time, So that's real persistence for you. Here comes the Northern Adventure Entertainment and the Red Hummingbird Foundation. Samuel de Champlain, we thank you for bringing our lives to this lovely lake. Is that great? Look at this. Very nice signs. This reminds me of the wonderful parades in Chinatown when I was a little boy in New York City. How about that? Oh,
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
yeah, quote the Raven, nevermore. These are very clever and very well designed items just made from cardboard boxes.
Yeah.
Some people have a lot more ingenuity than I do, that's for sure.
The Mahoney family in Altona have done a great job with a huge, it must be 40-foot long dragon.
No kidding.
Oh, it's just amazing that they had in a couple of parades already, and they're going to be, I'm sure, in Rouse's Point tomorrow night.
Beautiful. We don't have floats with 4 million roses on them, but we're doing pretty well.
Hello.
Oh, the kids carrying candy in their baseball gloves. I love it.
Cumberland Head Baseball.
Oh boy, oh boy. That brings back a lot of memories. In the summertime when Kay and I had lots and lots of kids playing sometimes 4 and 5 baseball games in a night, and we couldn't find out whose field they were playing at. Try to catch a couple innings of each one. Great memories. It's a good time to salute the recreation departments in the towns and in the county here in Clinton County, because a lot of these volunteers do a super job in helping these kids find things to do outdoors instead of inside all summer long.
Yeah, there's only one thing I wish they'd get rid of is the kids pitching in the grasshopper games.
Oh, I know, that's crazy, isn't it?
It just, and what happens, I was at a grasshopper softball game about 2 weeks ago, and the kids, as the girl pitched, she walked 10 batters, so the maximum of 7 runs were scored. So the kids in the field are sitting around, bored out of their, nobody's learning how to run the bases, nobody's learning how to play ball. When the coaches pitch, the kids hit the ball, they feel the ball.
Exactly right, sure.
And I don't know.
That's the way it should be.
I don't know why, but they keep doing it.
Well, maybe.
And they wonder why the kids aren't still playing when they get to the older ages.
Right.
But they've been bored through their 8, 9, and 10-year-old lives. I'm not sure, but I think these are line dancers, Gordon.
Would you have to guess that?
Yeah.
It's a saloon? Some saloon? I can't, they don't have a
Crazy
sign.
Horse or something?
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, Crazy Horse, saloon line
Line
dancers.
dancers, there you go. You have to catch them quick because they're spinners. Something that, of course, hadn't been invented when I was a kid, but it sure has caught on, especially since the Macarena. Line dancing.
Oh, line
dancing too. I was brought up in such a fundamental, old-fashioned religious family that dancing of all kinds were prohibited. And when my 3rd grade teacher taught us the Virginia Reel, I thought my father was going to try to get the school torn down. These are the Bodine bobsleds right here.
Yes, they are.
Who would ever guess that Bodine would be getting into bobsledding? But bobsledding has been a great sport around here ever since the olden days, and we remember hearing about it in the 1930s and covered the international bobsled races on the radio with the late Sid Spiegel.
And the zig. And the zag.
Zigging, zagging, little shady, big shady. And they're through. And they're down. Oh gosh, I still have some of my cheat sheets, writing the names down and who was winning in the races and trying to coordinate. Of course, now they have a camera at every turn. In those days, we had tried to have as many microphones as we could, and of course, Murphy's Law, 3 out of 5 didn't work, so you were almost on your own. We saw some very, very sad mishaps along the way. But the bobsled run has been completely redesigned since those days. That's where I first met Jim McKay, in a story I've told many times. Very interesting. He walked over and said, "Gordy, I got to cover this for our new program called The Wide World of Sports." And he said, "Can you show me a bobsled?" He said, "Let's see what the bobsled looks like." What a nice guy. What a super guy.
And you said, "Jim, do you believe in miracles?" He says, "That's a catchy." He says, "Oh, maybe I'll use that someday."
Maybe someday. Maybe around 1980 if it ever gets here.
I'll use that line, Gordy. So
Yeah.
I know that's where you got it from.
Oh, boy. So the parade still goes, and I can see units at least a quarter mile up the road, and already we've gone for 25 minutes, so that's good.
Got some bagpipers on the horizon.
Oh yeah, our buddies will be coming. And in case you didn't notice, the skies have cleared considerably, so it wasn't an ill wind that came through here a few minutes ago at all. This is great.
Yeah. Kelly's right here directing stuff here.
Oh yeah, swinging his arms, boy. He's a good
He's in
director, I'll tell
charge
you
there,
that. You know that's true.
Got to keep him in charge of this parade for at least another 20 years.
Yeah. National Guard. Boy, who would ever dream when we were kids growing up, or up in this area many years ago when we were younger, that there would be so many multi-million-dollar fishing tournaments on Lake Champlain. It's amazing, isn't it?
It sure is. We're going to try to cover one as we're taping this in a week and a half or so, and I'm wanting to do some coverage of these fishing tournaments, and we're going to try to do one this year.
Yeah, that's a marvelous thing. That's brought literally millions of dollars into the area from outside.
This guy wants your attention.
How are you? Good.
Doesn't matter who's president, people are going to be out here protesting.
Yeah, of course.
And I didn't think they should do it last year, and I don't think they should do it this year.
How are you? Looking good. Some get to walk and some get to ride.
Yeah, riding in style. Built
You
by
got it.
Chevy. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. That's what Brian tells me anyway.
Our friend Roy Garrett, another retired state trooper. Boy, I can hear the
They're
pipes already.
They're squeezing them pigs down there.
Oh, they got it, baby.
Looks like Bill Jr.
Hey, Billy. I don't think he even saw
No, he
you.
didn't see us.
He's looking at the kids.
Yeah, he's saying, throw some to that kid, throw some to that kid. Want to win a boat?
Yeah, jump in.
That's the fishing tournament we hope to give some coverage to.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Oh, here's Lisa. Rick Knowles' better half there. She's the one to keep Rick Knowles in line.
Oh, here come the people that we heralded so loudly, as if they couldn't herald themselves. But the police fife and drums, and they've grown exponentially over the years from 1, 2, or 3 members. I know Waukee won't be here because his sister-in-law got married at 12 o'clock today, so I know he's not marching with the group. I can promise you that. Police, pipes, and drums. Getting better every year. See the little guy? Isn't he beautiful? When we were in Scotland a few years ago, my wife said, "Why don't you have a kilt made?" And I said, I don't think they have enough material in that store. Oh boy. Here's Big Blue from the Peru Fire Department. And I think I see the end of the parade about 5 or 6 vehicles away, Calvin. For those who just turned it on, we're turning you on with the 4th of July parade on a beautiful Saturday in the North Country in 2009. Celebrating the Champlain Quadricentennial.
I'm glad there were a few floats that managed to get that quadricentennial theme.
Not very many. Not very many marching units, which surprises me tremendously.
This is a big day for demand for marching units.
Yeah, everywhere, right? There aren't too many high school marching bands who are available in the summertime for a lot of the obvious reasons. And a lot of the schools anymore, Calvin, can't afford to support marching bands. Whereas when we were younger, every school had one. Toward the tail end of the parade is the Clinton County Sheriff's Department. They have a boat patrol, as do the State Police, Coast Guard, immigration folks well represented on Lake Champlain. This is a big part of what we are in the North Country, is recreation on Lake Champlain. And the number one unit in the parade was the Plattsburgh Police Department. I don't know if the same car came around, but
I doubt it.
I don't think so. And the end of the parade is the Plattsburgh Police Department as well. What a wonderful day in the North Country on the 4th of July.
Thanks for being here. Well, Gordy, this is, let's see, I did the... oh, Kelly, come on over for a moment here.
Just 1 second. You did it again,
Yeah,
Kelly
I did it again.
Donahue.
It's all done. It's a good thing.
It was nice, too.
It was nice. It was beautiful weather. Couldn't ask for any better weather, huh?
Over a half an hour long.
That's very good,
Because we heard you say 1 minute.
1 minute.
It's not easy to get people together for a
No, it
parade
isn't.
like this.
And sometimes people don't understand, you know, a lot of people want to throw the candy and they want to come to them, but you know, there's a safety issue. A lot of kids will run into the roads.
We talked
and
about it.
Vehicles won't.
There was a near miss before the parade began as a little child ran almost in front of a car.
That's right.
Calvin and I both caught our breath. That was before the cameras rang, but
Yep.
you know, once again, we've done it again. It's wonderful.
It's a great parade, isn't it?
It's always
It's great. And you always, Calvin and you, Gordy, always do a great job.
We try to be there.
Thank you for being there for the community.
Kelly, thanks so much.
Oh,
Have
you're
a
welcome.
great day.
All right. Have a good one.
Kelly Donahue.
Yeah, as I was about to say, I covered the Shazy Parade, and I've done the Katyville. Sam Castine, my brother, did the St. Mary's Bazaar Parade. So I did Shazy, Katyville, Altona, Alberg, and this one so far. I think Malone went on at noon today, and I couldn't get that in Alberg both, and this one. So
Every time we do a parade, I would love to be able to scroll all the parades that you've done. You know, I've attended lots of parades in my lifetime, but you have actually recorded for posterity hundreds. I think I'm safe to say hundreds.
it's got to be around that 100. I don't know hundreds, but I'd say over 100.
Oh, I would say well over 100.
You know, and a couple of them that you know, we've seen some bicentennial parades, Essex County, Elizabethtown, Malone, Franklin County.
A lot of historical
and,
heritage parades.
And Clinton County in 1988. I'm very happy to say I was here to cover that one. And so, you know, we've had a lot of anniversaries, you know, and those are important too. And this, of course, this is a quadricentennial parade.
And guess what? In 2014, that seems a lot closer than it did when you and I started talking about it.
Yeah.
There will be a heck of a parade around here, wouldn't you think?
Well, I think they have a heck of a parade every year, so I don't know how they're going to be able to best it, because, you know, Kit Booth and that crew, Gary Van Cor and so on, they just do such a tremendous job year after year.
Well, with any luck at all, you and I will still be standing without crutches or wheelchairs on the steps of the county building down there, covering that one on September 11th or whatever day it happens to be in the year 2014. This has been fun again, Calvin.
It sure has, and good Lord willing, we'll both be back here next year for the 401th.
401th, you got that right. We would like to thank all our viewers. We'd like to thank everyone in the North Country for supporting events like that. for living up to all the qualities that Calvin and I mentioned early in the program, because if you didn't, then we'd have to be fibbing, and I don't think I've ever done that. Thank you all for watching this show, for making your physical contributions, for making your vocal contributions, by way of thanking Calvin and myself for doing what we do. We hope to do it far, far into the future. We want you to have a wonderful day, whatever day it is when you're watching this program, and who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.